Nvidia's rising in the pre-market, extending yesterday's gains. The chip giant hitting a 6-week high now, overtaking Microsoft to become the world's second most valuable company behind Apple. Now we got these Foxconn headlines about a Mexico, basically super plant, Jim.
Isn't this incredible? It's
to make servers. They would make servers there using Nvidia,
right,
using Blackwell chips.
They have to.
It's a little confusing.
But I mean, you've got Foxconn. They're not doing it out of the goodness of their heart. Fox chair,
no.
Young Lou saying that there was crazy demand. Now, last week it was insane demand.
Yes.
Now it's crazy demand.
Yes.
What's next?
Well, you know,
ludicrous.
Luda. Absolutely.
I spoke to Brad Lightcap, the COO of OpenAI, yesterday.
I love that interview.
And I thought there were a number of interesting takeaways. But of course, as they move their model to this 4.0, where you can ask questions and the compute that has to be behind that, well, it comes to one conclusion. Take a listen. We don't have it ready. Sorry.
Well, what would if I had listened to what
Oh, now it is ready. Take a listen.
For the first time, you've got models now can use compute when you actually ask them a question. And the more they can think, the more they can use compute, the better their answer gets. And so, much like a human, the more time you can take to think about something, generally the better the output's going to be. We think that paradigm is completely different. It has completely different implications for our infrastructure, completely different implications for how we scale compute. And I think we're only just at the beginning of understanding that.
All right, well, give me a little more here then. I mean, what does that mean for compute? Tell our viewers, does it mean you need more or less?
We think we're going to end up needing a lot more.
There it is, a lot more. We need a bigger boat.
No, honestly, come on. This was really an important interview.
Yeah.
Because along with the Guadalajara, what they're saying is the Blackwell, the problem in the last quarter was not demand. A lot of people are saying, listen, that was a cover. It's they can't make, the chips are very hard to make. It's called yield. And I thought your analysis, and I thought what's happening in Guadalajara confirms, look, it's more than just orders from Amazon and Meta and Tesla.
Without a doubt.
Okay,
and obviously Microsoft is a part of this as well. You guys have all seen this Oppenheimer downgrade this morning.
Yeah, please.
I know. Well, they talk about OpenAI losses. Again, it comes back to OpenAI reportedly expecting a loss of $5 billion, half flowing through Microsoft. They say they reiterate the streets likely overestimating near-term AI revenues, they say, as enterprise adoption infrastructure remains a bottleneck, and you can see more from that. I want to make a point here on this, however, because I do have one my sources who owns the stock who says they think OpCo is mismodeling this as they're including $2 billion in OpenAI costs, but not revenue. They have the first quarter Azure up 30.5% year over year versus the company guide of 33%. That would be a 1.5 point miss. There's no reason to think they missed first quarter, so they're adding back that 3% of Azure growth to full year, and that gets you back to a number more or less in line with consensus. So again, at least there's some criticism of this OpCo note saying they're including $2 billion of OpenAI costs, but not the revenue associated with it. Remember, everything flows through Azure.
No, that's right.
No, OpenAI, all that money for compute, that's going to Microsoft. So.
Okay.
Anyway.
No, that's great analysis. I love the interview. Jeez, come on.
Breaking news from the tech world is capturing the attention of investors everywhere. Jensen Huang, the charismatic CEO of Nvidia Corporation, is set to deliver a keynote at CES 2025. As one of the major players in artificial intelligence, Nvidia's continued involvement at such a prestigious event is a revelation in the ever-evolving story of AI innovation. With anticipation building up to his address on January 6, 2025, there's a buzz about potential announcements that could pivot Nvidia even further in the tech sphere. If Nvidia's past CES showcases are anything to go by, including partnerships with gaming giants like Tencent and NetEase, and advancements in their RTX series, then we might be in for a rollercoaster ride of exciting news. As Nvidia's stock has seen an impressive surge, touching new highs, are investors ready for the next chapter? Let's dive in to uncover the elements at play. Welcome back, everyone, to Investocracy.
What do you think of NVIDIA, given the fact that we did get these Foxconn CEO comments that basically said this AI boom, quote, still has some time to go, and that the demand for NVIDIA's new chips, the Blackwell chips, is much better than we thought, according to that chief executive? I mean, it comes on the heels of NVIDIA's CEO, Jensen Huang, just last week on CNBC's Overtime talking about the demand being, quote unquote, insane.
At some point, that's going to slow down. And when it does, it's going to be pretty ugly. But for right now, I think the demand is insane. They're seeing very strong demand. If you look at the earnings estimates for the last several years, they just keep going up. And that's another one where you're actually paying a reasonable multiple for the earnings growth that is going to happen. And they are in the pole position, as we all know, strategically. So at some point that will slow down and there will be more competition and we will need to be more careful about what we're paying for it. But for right now, we're absolutely long Nvidia.
The stage is set for another leap in Nvidia's narrative, with speculation swirling about what surprises might leap out of Jensen Huang's CES 2025 speech. To add a humorous note, one could argue that Nvidia's stock chart could double as a thrilling roller coaster ride theme. Just bring your own seatbelt and a strong stomach for the twists and turns. In 2024, the company's innovations like the Nvidia Ace and collaborations with big names such as Ubisoft wowed attendees and investors alike, setting a precedent. According to recent market analyses, Nvidia shares surged by 153.7% from their highs at the start of the year. Now, the CES 2025 event poses the question, how much higher can they go? Jensen Huang's keynote isn't just an oration, it's an orbit in the Nvidia galaxy where AI and gaming form constellations of innovation. Industry insiders suggest that Nvidia could unveil details about its RTX 50 GPU series, an announcement with potentially explosive implications for stock performance. With a knack for remaining at the forefront, Nvidia's connection to high-profile analyses like Meta's embracing of AI models solidifies its standing. But before we go any further, if you want to keep up with Nvidia's latest updates and keep up with the stock market's latest news, you can follow our Twitter account. We post multiple times daily about the biggest changes and catalysts in the market, so click the follow button if you don't want to miss the newest market updates.
All right, so don't look now, but the AI trade is back and it is picking up momentum. This is yesterday's heat map at the close. Look at all that red. What stands out? Yeah, you got it. Nvidia up big. Micron was up. AMD. They're trying to save the market all by themselves, right? And today is really sort of more of the same, to be honest with you. This, of course, after the latest, almost every day there's an article like this. This is from Citi. They're reporting that data center CapEx is going to grow at least 40% next year. Remember, the question is these hyperscalers, what they keep making the investment. Citi says the adoption rate right now, this whole thing is just only in the third or fourth inning. Morgan Stanley sees $10 billion worth of Blackwell orders. They reiterated their target on NVIDIA at 150. This is just a short-term target. In the last month, NVIDIA is up 22%. By the way, all time it's up 302,000%. NVIDIA's had one heck of a rally, but why now? With me now, IO Fund lead tech analyst Beth Kindig. And Beth, now the Wall Street doubters were setting the narrative, and it seemed like it was working. At least the pressure was there. Now they're losing out the price movement, right? Because movement changes everything. And right now this thing is moving higher. Are you still a buyer at these levels?
Good to see you again, Charles. We are on the sidelines very temporarily to see if we can get NVIDIA a little bit lower before Blackwell hits. When Blackwell hits, that'll be your May earnings call. You want to be prepared and be fully allocated. If we can fully allocate again for perhaps the 10th time at lower prices, we're going to shoot for that.
In the meantime, Apollo released a chart the other day, a great chart. Data centers as a percentage of electricity in every single state. So most states benefiting from it, right? Some more than others. Look at Virginia, 26% a data center is sucking up all that power consumption. It's just absolutely mind-boggling to me. And then, of course, you see what's happened with the utility stocks, right? They're on a tear. PE ratios for them never been this high before. Are there ways for the audience to invest in the electricity demand part of this?
Yes. When you look at the electricity demand side, nuclear is obviously gaining some traction, but I would encourage investors to continue to look more closely at NVIDIA. Their supply chain partners are driving down total cost of ownership. They are innovating throughout the full stack, and they will be the ones that reap the rewards. It goes back to this phenomenal run we've seen from NVIDIA. They are an order of magnitude ahead of everyone else on AI revenue. You could simply continue to focus on NVIDIA and you will do quite well including for energy consumption.
I got you. And by the way, isn't that a big part of the Blackwell thing that they really were able to, to make some adjustments with power?
Specifically, Meta's anticipation to increase its infrastructure cost in 2025 in pursuit of advanced generative AI models signals a bright opportunity for Nvidia. The growth narrative isn't purely speculative, it's woven with facts. For example, the demand for Nvidia's new Blackwell technology, predicted to offer a 3 to 5 times AI throughput boost over existing Hopper architecture, is reportedly greater than supply, as confirmed by top management. In fact, Wall Street analysts have projected a 42% revenue growth for Nvidia in fiscal year 2026, driven by both hardware and strategic partnerships strengthening their product lineup. Moreover, Nvidia's enduring presence in AI enterprise ecosystems, like those of Alphabet's Gemini and OpenAI's ChatGPT, underscores how integral GPUs are to their continued advancement. Given that AI models are poised to become more complex, requiring exponentially more resources, Nvidia finds itself in an enviable position as the indispensable engine powering these future-forward endeavors. But before going any further, if you made it this far into the video, thank you. These videos take a lot of effort and time to make, so if you enjoyed them, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. This goes a long way in helping us grow. That said, back to the video.
What is your current read on the market and what's been a really noisy week or so?
I mean, Jensen is in New York today telling all the institutional investors that there will be return on investment for Nvidia and calming people down a little bit. Because when I do my meetings in this last week, I'd say 3 or 4 times it comes up, hey, I think one of the biggest investment controversies is what will the return on all the capital spending be for the hyperscalers? And so you get the CEO of Nvidia in town saying, calm down, and I don't know if guys went out and bought more or whatever, but that stock acts well.
They actually did.
Yeah.
I mean, they're buying
so
more. It's up 4%.
He's meeting all the big investors. He comes around regularly, he's doing his normal kind of Boston, New York trip, but I think he knows that one of the biggest 5 or 10 investment controversies across the whole stock market is, will companies see a return on that? And then the answer he's telling you is, yeah. I mean, after lunch meeting I went and looked at the healthcare stuff on Nvidia's website just to get excited about some of the, applications there. So for sure, I think that debate, people know that the quarter's going to be fine. It's not for quite a while, but that maybe they feel a little better about that debate than they did before he went around and came to town.
Do you feel a little better about this trade then? The overall mega cap tech trade. Now this is back above $3 trillion in market cap.
I still think that two things. There's 2 currents there. One, I think semis you want to be overweight for 1, 2, 3, and 5 years. Okay, I like the trade. I don't think I'm smart enough to know exactly what's 3 weeks. It pulls back 20, 30%. But Nvidia was at 14. It went to 140. I wasn't smart enough to sell it down to 100. I'm not smart enough to. It's a long.
Okay, so you say
in the whole complex.
Then don't pay attention to the price action really in that space.
I don't think so. What I think happens with growth investing is only when you get in the top decile, the most expensive 10% on enterprise value to forecasted sales, then you get in that alarm area. But as you know, a lot of the semi companies' revenue is up a lot and their estimates are up a lot, and so the valuation isn't crazy for a lot of these names.
What do you make of this Nvidia move? What's it about over the last couple of days?
Yeah, well, listen, I think we heard from Jensen a little over a week ago. I thought it was a great interview on CNBC, just talking about endless demand for the Blackwell chip. So when you hear CEOs talk in this manner about, this is the bellwether, this is exactly, this is what they mass produce, and there's endless demand for their product. It's just another catalyst for the stock. We're just being reminded of what's going on between the lines at Nvidia. So for me, that's part of the jump that we've seen over the last few days. And I think it continues. I think they will jump over the bar from an earnings perspective. We'll hear from them late in their earnings season, as we always do. But I think it was just a little bit of a reminder of what's going on, at the company.
As the curtain prepares to rise on CES 2025, the investment landscape is ripe with opportunity. For those with a strategic eye on the future, Nvidia offers a narrative that's as much about innovation as it is about robust financial growth. With forecasts signaling a promising fiscal horizon, the market remains bullish on Nvidia, poised to capitalize on AI's unprecedented growth trajectory. Presently, Nvidia trades at a stellar valuation reflecting its solid market cap exceeding $3 trillion. Even with the roller coaster analogy, it's evident that Nvidia's journey is more akin to a high-speed train on a set track toward transformative technological impact. As market analysts note, Nvidia is not just surviving AI's race, it's setting the pace. So, dear investor, are you buying into the momentum? Does Nvidia's ascent signal a new apex in your portfolio, or do you see room for another tech titan to challenge the throne? Engage with us by sharing your thoughts on where you see Nvidia heading in this great AI arms race. Your insights might just lead us all to the next big conversation in the world of stocks. And finally, if you would like to know what companies like Nvidia have been up to these past few days, go ahead and click on the next video on your screen.